I mean, if you want your child to be a learner, and you've identified some subjects or some areas that the child is interested in pursuing, then find out where information about those subjects are in the community, and spend time with your child. Take your child there so that there can be some hands-on stuff also, and show practical applications of what it is, because we involve ourselves so much with theory. But if you can show a child, well, here's why you need to learn such and such. If you can put a picture to it, not just a picture, but application. If you could show your child this in practice, then that's going to get them even more excited.
So I just want to repeat this for our listeners then, Wally, because it's so terrific and it's so easy, like you said. So every day we read aloud to our child, we identify their interests. We become good role models ourselves instead of just telling our children, oh, you can go out and achieve any dream. Show them that we're pursuing our own goals and we're pursuing our own dreams, and that we have them see us reading and learning. You talk about learn things together with the children. I suppose that they ask us questions and we say, I don't know the answer to that, but let's go to the library. Let's go to the internet. Let's find out the answer to that.
Help the child find the answer out. Don't just tell them the answer. Help the child discover the answer for themselves, because there's tremendous excitement in discovery.
Oh, that's right. Help them discover the answer. I love that. Mm-hmm. And then you talked about practical applications. Why is it important? Why is it helpful to know this and to do this?
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent. Now, do you have any top things to avoid? Any advice for us? If we want to raise lifelong learners and we want to motivate our children, what should we avoid doing?
Well, I think you should avoid negative words. So often the word a child hears more often than anything else is no. Don't do this. No, 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 no. Now, obviously, a child at an early age needs some guidance and some discipline. And you need to watch over them, because, there's some things some information they just don't have yet. But there has to be another way that an answer can be phrased rather than just no. No is so final. It's so definite. It doesn't leave room for anything. And so often we do that too, because we're impatient, and what we want to do is get the child out of the way. So I think that we must look for ways to say yes to the child, and also to compliment the child when the child does something that's extraordinary or that's positive, rather than just brushing it aside. But
so catch them being good. Notice when the bed was made, not just when it's unmade.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I met a superintendent of schools in Oakland, California, and he'd come up through the educational system there, and he said when he was a teacher, he would imagine that students walking down the hallway would always have the initials MMFS stamped on their forehead, and that stands for Make Me Feel Special. So often, it is just the opposite. We make our children feel horrible. We make them feel guilty. We make them feel useless. We don't build them up. But how many ways can you make them feel special? How many times during the course of the day can you make your child feel special? Can you make them feel that they can do anything, that all things are possible, And you do that by encouraging, I think, by complimenting, by focusing on positive aspects of their lives rather than highlighting negative aspects of their lives.
I suppose the 80-20 rule would apply here as well. In other words, compliment 80% of the time, and then maybe only criticize 20% of the time, and then make sure we're being very gentle when we do it.
Indeed, and if you do criticize, then let that be an educational experience also, so that the child knows why. You're not just, too often we are just critical, and we don't really, talk it out so the child can see that, understand why we are being critical. So it can all be a part of an education.
We interviewed Robert Kiyosaki last week, the author of Rich Dad
Oh, I know
Poor Dad.
Robert. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yes, and of course he talks about avoiding negative words and phrases as well. And he says, for example, never say "I can't."
No.
Instead, ask "How can I?"
I used to tell my daughter, I said, no, we are the Can family. I said, the Can family lived next door to us, but they moved away. I said, we're the Can family. We believe that everything is possible. We believe in looking for ways for answers and solutions. And so I think it's important to really do things like that with your children. Your words are so powerful. Your words are so powerful. In my book, The Power in You, the last chapter in that book, let me see on my desk, I just pulled it out, and I had The Power in Words. We take our words for granted, but your words are how you communicate with other people. I have plus words and minus words, because your words are how you communicate with other people. Here's a thought also. I remember going to a church once, and a Sunday school teacher was demonstrating to a class how important words were, and that once you say them, I mean, you can't take them back. And we say things to people, and then we say, "Oh, well, I didn't mean to say that." But once it's said, you can't take it back. And she took some sugar and dissolved it in a glass of water. And she said, your words are like this sugar. I just dissolved this sugar in this water, and I can no longer make this sugar solid again. This sugar now is gone. And your words, once your words leave your mouth, you can't reach out, grab them, and put them back in your mouth. So it's really, really important, whether you're speaking to your children or to other people, obviously, that you want to use words that are encouraging, and words that are supportive, words that are loving, words that are life-affirming, because they're just so powerful.
And I suppose in addition to focusing on avoiding negative words, also it's that law of attraction that you're talking about, that what you put your focus on, you attract more of.
Right.
And I remember reading an interview with Mother Teresa where someone had invited her to be a part of their protest.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, when you tell me what you're for, I'll be there to support you and be a part of that.
Right. So it's not avoiding negative words. It's just affirming the positive.
Yeah.
For so many years during my involvement with literacy, people were saying, well, we are fighting illiteracy. I said, no, we're not. We are promoting literacy.
Yes.
Because what you resist persists. People don't understand that. That's the law of the universe. It's the thing you resist the most, you're giving power to it, so it grows in your life.
So focus on what you're for, not on what you're against.
Amen.
Which is why, of course, you're going to focus on the children's behavior that you want.
Right.
Catch them being motivated to learning and learning independently and reading, focusing on the behaviors that we want more of.
Absolutely.
It just makes so much sense, but of course we haven't been raised that way.
We've not been raised that way, no. I have a friend that puts it a very simple way. She said, direct the traffic the way it's going.
What does that mean?
Well, if the traffic is going one way, direct it in that way. Don't try to push it back. Direct the traffic in the way that it's going. If you've got traffic going one way down a one-way street, then you're going to continue to direct the traffic in that way. So the idea is then to use positive reinforcement all the time.
Ooh, I love that. That's very powerful. In fact, it was so profound, it took me a minute to kind of wrap myself around it. Well, we're talking about how to motivate the kids, and aren't we talking also about passion? How to develop a passion in what we do, and then how to help our children have a passion for what they do. What are your secrets for that? Because obviously you've lived a very passionate life, and it's worked so well for you.
But not always, But again, I think it goes back to being the best example that you can be. I'm passionate about promoting. I'm passionate about cookies. I'm passionate about people. And not only my children, but other people see that. Being consistent in what you do also is important. It's not a sometime thing. I think it's important to be positively consistent in what you say and what you think and in what you do. and every time, because you never know who's watching.